What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part, I want to say, 29-ish of my Total War Warhammer 3 Yuan Bo Immortal Empires campaign. So as we saw last time, we have defeated the lizards in the final battle over the Wuxing Compass, which was fought, technically speaking, in Weijin rather than where we were, though we didn't get to use the garrison of Weijin, because I suppose that would have probably trivialized in the battle. Anyway, that was a nice big siege, and it gave us the final Hero Recruit Rank plus 10 buff for the long victory achievement. And now we're just working towards that endgame. Still have to destroy the Galleon's graveyard, of course, plus whatever else we have to do in order to shore up our borders prior to the Chaos Dwarfs going nuts, but we're getting there, and we're certainly getting there. Anyway, in terms of who we got to move this time around, I feel like we're probably better off trying to attack Hack, but on the other hand, because he's in underway stance, it's a pretty big issue. And the issue there is that if he stays in underway stance, he will, if we attack him with Jishu, he's going to essentially allow most of his units to escape off the field because it wouldn't be an underway interception, and that's probably not something we want, so I guess we're going to have to leave him alone for this turn. That does not, however, mean we should leave these guys, for example, alone at the Eagle areas, although on the other hand, this battle wouldn't be too bad. Kirik Vrag, though, I'm just wondering whether we should send both Miao Ying and Jiao Ming together at to fight at Kirik Vrag just for the fun of it. Certainly a possibility. Alright, you know what, let's do that. Jiao Ming, then you're gonna sit here for a turn and then we'll move back out, though I guess we will have to watch out for Black Fang being attacked by these guys jumping over. I guess we'll have to see. Now, in terms of who else needs to move this turn, I think we moved everybody who at least was liable to fight, which means we're ready to just end the turn, unless there's somebody over on this side close to Lustria, and that is in need of a move. Yeah, Yuan Bo, rather, you can just sit there to heal up from that final battle, and the rest of you are just waiting, which means we can skip, and Garrison Lord not moved. No, that's probably the Sentinels. Heroes not moved, not important. End the turn. Let's get going. Alright, will this army finally attack the Monument of the Moon? Will they land, at the very least, or will they run from the Lion Pride that's ready to defend it? Quite curious about that, and they're running. Oh, game, why? Why would you run? Military alliance? No, there's no need for this, mostly because there's a decent chance that the lizards start fighting you, and frankly, we don't need to get into combat with Itza again. We've already proven that we can destroy them without any trouble. Let's see what we have here. Add a hunter. A second hunter, eh? Yeah, sure, why not? And T in Sympathy gives us hero action cost minus 80%, which is completely irrelevant. Construction cost reduction also irrelevant, but I guess we'll do that. Wait, mass trepanning. Whoa, I'm gonna give this a read. Our astromancers shamble as if unliving, dazed and unresponsive. When they can rouse themselves to speak, they report a pounding pressure behind their temples and indescribable shifting colors at the edges of their vision. Worse, this malaise now spreads to others. Their minds are out of balance. Only by the release of the excess yin energies swirling within their skulls may harmony be regained. This will require the finest surgeons in all of Cathay. You think it's a good idea to drill holes in the skulls of an astromancer who commands the winds of magic? That seems like a bad idea. It just really seems like a bad idea to me. It seems like a good way to get a wizard to explode while in the middle of your forces. But anyway, let's do it anyway. Ally begins outpost construction, Great Orthodoxy, who we are allied to once again. Looks like this army is running, but I imagine... Oh, wait, are you in full speed stance and we could catch you? Well, you know, I wasn't expecting to actually use this army to actually fight, but this kind of amuses me, so I would like to see what all of the lions can do, just out of curiosity against this. Now, obviously, against Depth Guard, they're going to suffer, but it looks like this army doesn't have Depth Guard. I can't believe they let us build the Lion Pride. Well, here we go.
dragons are watching us! In battle, we shall demonstrate our reverence!
Alrighty, well, here we go. I like the idea of this army, and I still find it kind of hilarious that the jet lions in particular have 130% spell resistance, and that's without the additional spell resistance, obviously. That would be in, what's his face, Yuan Bo's army. Let's see how the lion army fares, and how our lion artificer here, though we'll probably replace you with a different lord, will fare, and just out of interest. In addition to that, I would be, you know, we could invade the lands of Tzeentch with just a bunch of jet lions and have them all be completely immune, basically, to spell damage. All of the, I mean, at 130 spell resistance, all of the reductions to spell resistance that the Tzeentchian factions might have would probably not do too much. Anyway, we're moving in, and here come those Jade Lion Breaths, even as they hit the enemy formation here. When you have this many of them, at the very least, you could do a lot of damage to the enemy infantry piles like this. There we go. Alright, also sorry my neighbor's dogs are barking, so if you can hear them, I can't do much about that. Alrighty, and just like that, we are engaged with the enemy battle line. There is very little they can do now, mostly because all of their ranged units are engaged and are thus not really a threat to us. And really, there's not much on the field that's a threat to us at all. If they had their depth guard with halberds, this would be a lot more difficult for this particular army, and I would have been interested to see how it could fare, but like this, I don't see the problem. Plus, the Wall of Wind and Fire seems like, well, I mean, I know I've been saying I love the Wall of Wind and Fire throughout this campaign, but against slower moving artillery pieces, especially when the AI keeps them in a pile, and when they're very fragile, like they are specifically for the Vampire Coast, the Wall of Wind and Fire could wreak absolute havoc onto enemy armies with that. More Jade Lion Breaths coming out all over the place. This is actually quite nice. They're like some kind of vengeful jade spirits just spitting fire all over the enemy army. Very unique army. Huh. You know, I'm kind of, I maybe should have built this type of army a little bit earlier. There's the regular fire breath from our dragon-blooded lord as well, or dragon's breath. Alright, the lines have certainly grown on me, although I did like them from the very beginning of when we could build them. Anyway, just a few more enemies to take out, another wall of wind and fire, though it's not necessary as the last of the enemy army continues to melt away. We're going to surround the enemy lord with all the lions now, and that is that. Easy little fight. Easy little fight. I don't think we took really all that much damage, and we could have actually taken even less damage if we had had Earthblood, rather than whatever other spell we took on our Lord, which we can replace. Interesting. Very interesting indeed. This is a fairly cheap and effective army, and if we really wanted to, we could build like a dozen of these and just send them out all over the place. Although there's no need to right now, it's certainly a thought for other campaigns, and I'd actually be curious to see how these lions will perform an SFO later on. Anyway. You know, I gotta say, that was surprisingly effective. I certainly didn't expect this little army to do much here, but well done to it nonetheless. I think the only thing I would change is we should probably replace this particular Shugingen with one who has the Earthblood spell instead, but hey, Lion's Pride army ain't too bad. You're gonna suffer attrition no matter what you do, huh? Well, I guess we could technically move here. Would that be too close to Noctilus? I guess even if it is, he doesn't have an army nearby. Let's move here to the Straits of Lothern. We are allied. I was hoping we'd heal. Neutral. You'd think that the Straits of Lothern would be owned by Lothern, considering... I guess you have to go into the territorial scene. Inner Sea, no replenishment or recruitment available. Why? This is allied water. Odd. Odd, but whatever, not important. You can get back to your settlement later, and maybe we'll replace you with a different lord. We don't need the Vorpal Shard. However, as, well, this army serves a little purpose, but it is effective. Considering how cheap the lines are at 169, on top of that, I just realized that every single one of the Jade lines has a Mastery of the Elemental Winds as well. Quite interesting. What level are we able to recruit lords at this point? Just out of curiosity. We are able to recruit them at level 16, so roughly the same as you, so we wouldn't be losing much. Interesting. Interesting indeed. Yeah. Alright, well, either way. Let's see what else we gotta do this time around. Yuan Bo... Wait. How do you not have max movement? I thought we ended the turn, which we did. It's just that Yuan Bo didn't reclaim all his movement. Okay, let's see. Oh, look at that. Grimgore's back. Well, damn, I wanted to get Jiao Ming to kill off Grimgore as well, though he has a much nicer army now. Okay, well, either way, let's see. Miao Ying, I'd like you to move up to Kiragvrag right now. I see this caravan is still here, and then there's nobody else here as well, so that's perfectly fine. Really? Low casualties, decisive victory, low casualties? I was expecting this to actually be a tough fight, but I guess the game recognizes that, it might not be worth our time. Alright, well, we are heading towards the end game scenario. You know what, I think if that's the choice, I'd rather start moving towards Grimgore instead. So let's encamp you, we'll send you up to Blizzard Peak, and then to hunt down Grimgore afterwards. You are hurt, so that might make the battle, if nothing else, a little bit more interesting. And on top of that, you gotta find Zatan again. Hopefully he doesn't run one last time for Zatan. Miao Ying just auto-resolve Kiragvrag. I mean, I guess it is just 3 Black Orcs, which would have been destroyed from range anyway. And not to worry, we'll get the dragon siblings fighting together during the endgame scenario. Absolutely gonna happen. No, right. I was about to say, ooh, lots of money to sack it, but then at the same time, we gain nothing out of it, so it wouldn't matter. Oh, huh. I wonder what gemstones would do for us in a commercial district. But I guess we're not going to keep this. There's no real point to keeping any of this, so yeah. Just let it go. Anyway, Yuan Bo, you do need to head out, and damaged though you slightly are, I'd like you to start moving on towards Noctilus, so let's move you here. And onto the Galleon's Graveyard, though I guess we're just going to have to go by the coast anyway. And, okay, try not to suffer too much attrition, buddy. I hope I didn't move you into attrition territory or attrition C, and it doesn't look like I did. Mr. Admiral, you are going to grab this Skull Island, Mysterious Island, I wish it was a Skull Island, and you're going to sort of hang around here with the Lion Pride army. Just go for those who escaped favorable winds. We will need to retrofit your army with better units later on as well. You have been around for a long time now. Shu Kang after all, no, level 19. Not too bad either. The Sentinels obviously don't need to move, and you, I guess, are also waiting for a retrofit, but at the same time, we need somebody to protect this place, so, and just keep on protecting it. You're doing fine. You need to keep healing. I'm in fact kind of inclined to move you back towards the Great Bastion, but at the same time, once we take care of Grimgore, probably or hopefully with Jiao Ming, we'll send you up north to continue dealing with the Orc territories. It's just I don't want you to take the defeat trait. Alright, and the rest of these guys, ooh, nearly there. You can one of you can almost be deleted. The ferry will not need to move for 2 more turns, though we will need to continue recruiting, and you know what, you may as well start taking the units. Like so. Not like the money matters. And then we can keep transferring. Actually, while we're here, since I can't really figure out a way to get Yuan's bows into Yuan Bo's army, we're just going to pretend that they've been lended 2 Miao Ying instead. Now she has 2 of the dragon siblings, named characters or named units, but whatever. Not a big deal. I guess Miao Ying's the favorite. Anyway, anybody else need to move? It does not look like it, so let's just quickly build our buildings and then let's proceed. You're gonna go up to sky lanterns, you're gonna go up to mooring towers, and all those reductions in build time are really working for us. And the same to you, 1 turn, that's what I like to see. I also noticed the Dragonaz is still not level 4, damn. And it's going to be one of our biggest, if not our biggest cash cows, but it's taken so long to actually level it up. Hanyu Port, you are probably going to be a defensive location. Or not a defensive location, a commercial district. If we actually get enough commercial, I mean, we may never have all that many more commercial districts, and I guess we could either build a combination of Celestial Beacon and mooring tower, or we could just go for a defensive location. I mean, what's the likelihood that Hanyu Port gets attacked? It's more likely than several of the other places. You know what, if nothing else, we should do that then, fine. We will then go for one of these and one of these. Does it matter which one for us right now? Probably not, as long as they're the opposites. So we'll judge this by whichever one of these we want, and that's the one with more ranged units, which is this one. Sky Lantern Roosts, and then in combination with the Yang Sanctuary. Fantastic. Alright, Celestial Lake, you're up next. Let's get you those defenses. Not that, well, at the current time we need them, and then this garbage doesn't need to be. In fact, wait. It's gonna take 1 turn to level this up. Let's level it up and then let's trade it to these guys. They'll appreciate it more, I'm sure. Diplomacy we could do, but at the same time probably doesn't matter. So let's skip, bonus and skill points. You're not moved. Building upgrade available. End turn. You gotta get to that Galleon's graveyard after all. And once again, every additional turn we take to move towards Jarnagrund freaking out is a turn well used, I think. I don't want to spend too many episodes just preparing for the endgame when we can, you know, more or less rush towards the endgame, considering that there's really not that much more that is a threat to us. I mean, I suppose in theory Kairos could be, but with all the buffs that we've got, the fact is with our 70 plus spell resistance in every army, or 90 plus if we have jet lions in the army, there's just no need. It won't do anything for us. You want a trade agreement, Thorek. At the same time, this might piss off Kalita, and I'm not sure that we want to do that, so just decline it for now. And also, we don't get anything out of the money at this point. Alright, let's see what Grimgor is doing. And you would like us to add Jade Warriors or Ogres. Wait. We have to choose, but this army is... Huh? Is there even enough room? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so there is a little bit of room. There's actually a fairly nice balanced army. Plenty of Jade Warriors and crossbows. I mean, I guess the Ogre Bulls might be useful, a little bit of monstrous infantry to round out the army. Why not? Sword Brothers. Faction destroyed, Slaughterhorn Tribe. I wasn't expecting Toroks to die. Some ambushers discovered which are irrelevant to us. There's that great Celestial Banner, which we'll have to figure out who to give to. And Kunlun Anvil now being researched for that additional armor for our elites. Next up, we see where Grimgor has got himself to. Is he close enough to Jiao Ming to fight? Yes, he is. He will run, but that probably won't matter because we should be able to chase him down with Jishu right after. So, Jiao Ming, we got a fight for you. We are going to put... Okay, we already have the point in Mentor, so that's great. You want... Well, you're going to have mostly melee units, so Unyielding should be maxed out with you. We should actually probably get you some spells as well, otherwise I'll feel bad.
Power.
And then you've got the Great Longma Riders, so that means Mighty Charge for you as well. Single point or 2 points in that, or... well, we do cast with you. Maybe just get the Wall of Wind and Fire. It's so nice and spammable. I mean, he's got lots of great spammable spells. It's just too bad that he doesn't have access to Searing Doom. Not that Dragon's Breath is bad, mind you. Actually, almost... Actually, this is actually pretty fantastic mix. I would have actually preferred Searing Doom over Plague of Rust, especially since he's using fire stuff and metal stuff. Searing Doom sounds kind of fire and flame. Or fire and flame. Fire and metal to me, but whatever. He's got a really great lore here. Anyway, let's level the rest of these guys up and let's get to it. You also have Plague of Rust, and you have that enhanced, enchanted metallurgy. Get your transmutation of lead maxed out. I don't particularly care for metal, or Plague of Rust rather, and I think we're just going to go for enchanted metallurgy piercing, because that's the one we always get. You are now on your compass, unless I'm mistaken. Yes, good. We do use Comet of Cassandora, we do use Zernon's Thunderbolt, so they're both decent investments, and Roiling Skies will be useless against the greenskins, more or less, so let's say another point in the Comet, so that we could cast it for a little bit cheaper, as in the real Comet, not the, well, cheaper version of said Comet. Anyway, Grimgore's got a full stack, and he's got a full second stack, so this, if nothing else, should be a pretty nice and fun fight. Here we go. And yes, we could move one of these guys in to help, but where would the fun be in that? Plus, I would imagine that if we did, Grimgore would run, and at least this way, he's not gonna book it on out of there. Here we go.
A dragon leads you to battle this day. Rejoice, for it is the honor of honors.
Huh, did he have like a little running start before he started floating? It seems, and then he stops floating. Wait, can he continuously float, or does he float a little bit and then have to go back on the ground? And just out of curiosity, and when he gets blocked by other units, he stops floating. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. Here we go. Zhao Ming will be facing off against Grimgore. He's certainly been running up and down the mountains of Morn of late, going all the way from Kugath now to Grimgore, and then hopefully up northward towards Zatan as well. Bit of a rite of passage, that one, for most of our lords, with the exception of Yuan Bo, but let's just say he doesn't need it because he is not really reliant on artillery in any way that the other armies are. Anyway, looks like the enemy will not be heading towards us, but that's just fine by us. We have some very nice hills to position our artillery on, and we're actually going to keep our various types of cavalry in reserve, but beside the artillery pieces, for the purpose of providing the harmony buffs, and then we'll send them down when needed. In the meantime, we're going to rush forward, Zhao Ming and the alchemist here, and just to try to annoy the enemy enough with our spells so that they hopefully will come towards us. And ooh, looks like we got a spirit leech as well as a Vindictive Glare coming in to hit our Alchemist. Didn't do too much damage, especially with that elixir, or Alchemist elixir, of Iron Skin popping that armor up to plus 90, which ain't too bad. And thus the Alchemist should be safe enough to cast many a spell, and hopefully enough to annoy the enemy. We're going to start off with that final transmutation in a big blob of enemies. Not really what it's for in this particular case, as it'll probably do about as much damage as, I don't know, maybe a flock of Doom or something along those lines, though it's actually kind of doing okay, at least against a few units. And the Gehenna's Golden Hounds will probably do a lot more. In the meantime, it looks like the enemy has gotten annoyed and is chasing the Alchemist around with those river trolls. Zhao Ming is then going to chase the river trolls instead, well, one will chase the other, etc., etc. What's the speed comparison, just out of curiosity? 80 on Zhao Ming and 59 on the River Trolls. So in theory, it should be easy to catch them. In practice, he's having a little bit of trouble because they keep moving around, and at the same time, I don't want the Alchemist to get hit. Although, it looks like the Alchemist is going to get trapped, though this may be a good thing, as it would allow Zhao Ming to land, and he should be able to rip those trolls apart without too much difficulty and allow the Alchemist to escape. Hopefully, this will continue the annoyance of these enemies to the point that the enemy army moves out, and it looks like the anthill has been kicked, and they're coming. So all we now have to do is maybe kill off a few more of these trolls and then get Zhao Ming out of there. Are you kidding me? The enemy is going to fire its goblin rock lobbers at Zhao Ming, but it's going to do more damage to itself than it is to us, though I guess that is its problem. Over on this side, the trolls are moving towards our line, which seems like a bad idea as the Grand Cannons would be able to begin to fire at them. Where are we? Alright, now you're a fire rain rocket. It's the Grand Cannons we're a little bit more interested in. We're actually going to move them forward just a little bit more. Alright, everybody into position. It's going to be a bit of a dark battle, but what can you do? Anyway, it looks like the trolls are out of there, and Zhao Ming, it's time for you to leave as well. The Black Orcs are here, and the armor piercing on those great axes of theirs can certainly be a threat to you. Hopefully he can get out. He's just getting trapped in the mass of enemies now. And backing away, backing away. Gonna hit a few more enemies behind Zhao Ming with another one of those final transmutations, and do a decent bit of damage to Grimgor as well as to his River Troll Hag. I lost sight of the River Troll Hag, but she's somewhere in there. And in the meantime, Zhao Ming will probably get out. I also didn't want to pop the spell right on top of Zhao Ming because I'm not trying to get the enemy to blob up around him. I'm just trying to get out at this point. Anyway, here come the enemies. They've crested the hill, and it's now time to take bombardment damage. We've seen a lot of this throughout the campaign, but I have just not gotten tired of it. There we go. You gotta love Fire Rain rockets and Hellstorm rocket batteries. They're just so pleasant to watch, aren't they? If only we could have allied a little bit with the Chaos Dwarves and acquired some Dreadquake mortars as well. The combination of Dreadquakes and Fire Rain rockets would just be absolutely disgusting. Anyway, looks like the enemy is going to try to move forward with some Squig Herders. Our hoppers, rather, and they're going to smash into our melee line, but I doubt that they're going to achieve all that much. And the enemy's massive pile of orcs and gobos are heading their way down the hillside in the meantime, but they will be bombarded all the way through. And there we go. Looks like the Boar Boys at least will attack in a place of light. And I kind of like seeing the Jade Warriors and the Celestial Dragon Guard working together. I've more or less just been thinking we just replace one with the other, but at the same time, maybe it would be better to do both. At least in one army. I'll think about it. Even though one is just objectively better than the other. Anyway, here come the enemy. A few goblins have actually managed to reach our line. The rock lobbers are hitting our main line as well, which means we're going to need to respond. The long marauders are going up and over this little, I don't know, piece of bridge that has been destroyed, and they're both going to go after the enemy goblin rock lobbers before looping back around. Of course, the bombardment still continues, and the enemy is still way too blobbed up for their own good, which means the damage is gonna be real here. We're targeting both units of Black Orcs, or 2 out of the 3, or whatever number the enemy had, the units of Black Orcs here. And with those Fire Rain rockets, and while the Fire Rain rockets aren't actually going to do all that much damage to the Black Orcs, by and large it seems like they're essentially damaging units that are near the Black Orcs at the same time as preventing said Black Orcs from reaching our battle line. There we go. Though it looks like more and more enemies are smashing into our front line here. Bombardment aside, Zhao Ming is facing off against Grimgor, and has been doing so for about a minute straight. He has not taken nearly as much damage. Comet of Cassandora coming down. Oh wow, you gotta love the effect. All those pretty fireworks. I really still gotta look into a mod to actually take out these things. I feel like the casting circles, or whatever these are called, they take out the, I don't know, a little non-immersive for me, but I don't think we can take them out of this. At least not that I'm aware of. Character auras, no, that's not it. I just like these effects removed so that we can see only the battle. So if anybody knows of a way to do that, please let me know. Anyway, over in the background, Zhao Ming still faces off against Grimgor, who activates his blood-forged armor. And actually, with all that bloody fog, Zhao Ming looks pretty fantastic overhead. Not entirely sure how Grimgor is actually hitting him while he's up in the air like that, but hey, if it's working for him. I also want to point out that Zhao Ming has been taking hits from all of the enemy range units this entire time. It does look like the enemy wants to focus him down with that, rather than waste its shots on our other units. But that's its own problem, I suppose. The biggest blob of enemies is also now getting hit by the various spells that we have. I didn't see which spell it was that we could use, but it doesn't really matter whether it was which one it was, as in it was one of the debuff spells like Curse of the Midnight Wind and Transmutation of Lead. Alrighty, and the showdown continues. Damn, you can activate that Blood-Forged armor quite a bit, can't you? And I just want to point out that these two have been dueling for like 3 minutes straight now, although I guess Zhao Ming has a lot of regeneration on him, both the hunger via his talisman, as well as his own regeneration, so it may be that Grimgor is actually doing some damage to him, 1,000, but he's simply healed through it. Otherwise, the enemy backline is in pretty darn horrible shape. In the background, the artillery is really doing work, and I'm willing to bet that they've racked up quite a few kills, nearly 500 on that Fire Rain rocket there. The enemy's own artillery have been destroyed by the Longma Riders, and our Jade Lancers are also moving out to help as well. In fact, the Jade Lancers are quite a bit better at chasing units and killing units on the ground than the Longma Riders are, and they should help quite a decent bit. Here comes yet another use of the Comet of Casimdora. There we go. Alright, we're getting some nice cinematic shots in this battle, though, I gotta say. I love the front line sort of fighting like this. It's not the most efficient thing, but I do it in pretty much every campaign, just because I like the way it looks. Alrighty, I mean, I feel like Total Warhammer isn't a game that you play to win so much as you play for the glorious spectacle of it. I mean, let's face it, the AI leaves something to be desired, but if you play it for fun, you get a lot of glorious stuff happening. Anyway, Zhao Ming and Grimgor still fighting. Zhao Ming has finally reached his healing cap, but is about on par with Grimgor at this point, though once again, we gotta remember that he took a lot of damage, and he being Zhao Ming, to the ranged units firing at him constantly and the Black Orcs and stuff, so I feel like we gotta give it to him over Grimgor. We can also come back to our main line and transform and cease taking further damage such that we don't need to heal up. Anyway, with that, it looks like the enemy main host is out of here, and once again, I am absolutely loving the drum units. And the war compasses as well, / astromancers. I feel like I've been saying this every episode, but yeah, main battle lines with support units, they're just really fun to watch. Anyway, Zhao Ming has transformed back into regular form so that his melee troops can help out with Grimgor a little bit. I do feel like we could have just let the two continue dueling, but at the end of the day, I'd rather not waste like 5 or more turns waiting for Zhao Ming to actually heal himself. And we've already seen that he can take a Grimgor in a duel. I don't know whether one or the other would have won it, but he can hold his own, and that's good enough for me at the current time. I'd rather not have the army disabled for too long. Anyway, gonna get some nice animations with him and his ground or humanoid version of his attacks. There we go. Lots of fire coming around. Not as much metal. For an Iron Dragon, you'd think it'd be a little less fire and a little bit more metal. I noticed that he uses the blade ability where he summons blades around his enemy when he's in dragon form, but doesn't have an equivalent in his humanoid form and just does lots of hand fire things. Anyway, Grimgor's still proven to be an absolute beast of a combatant, just like he faced off against Miao Ying. It's now time for Zhao Ming to bring him down, but it's still taking quite a bit of time as well. Though I guess that we're getting a little bit of our own medicine here, as it was taking Grimgor quite a bit to deal with Zhao Ming as well, at least in dragon form. And Grimgor is unbreakable on top of all that, though I do believe he should be just about to... Oh, actually, still got about 1,500 HP left. Not so bad. And also, I love hearing the drum sounds constantly in the background. It just feels so appropriate for a battle. Anyway, obviously the enemy army has been destroyed a little while ago, and they've been shattered, so most of our units are moving around in the background and just chasing them off while we fight Grimgor here. Although it shouldn't be that much longer. And Big Boy's still fighting. Man, credit where it's due, really. It really makes me want to play Grimgor. I think I haven't played as Grimgor since I want to say Total Warhammer 1, so it's been absolute ages. The funny thing is that, yeah, what I mostly remember about playing as Grimgor from way back then was the last time, or the time that I did play him was before he got the mass buffs to him, as in the first round of mass buffs, not even the mass buffs that we got in Warhammer 3 in general. But Grimgor, being a Footlord, used to have the problem being constantly knocked around by everything on a large mountain was such a huge problem. You got this fighter who is just nigh unkillable, but at the same time, anybody with a horse, anybody with a dragon or other monstrous unit would just knock him to the ground and he could do nothing. Of course, that's been fixed since then, but yeah, it certainly left a sour taste in the mouth after well, in Total Warhammer 1, though it's been ages, many a year since that time. Anyway, well done to Zhao Ming, though he certainly did take damage. We do have to remember that we do have a regen on him, so at least a decent amount of that will come back. Actually, now that I think about it, maybe I could have let him duel Grimgor alone, because if we were to fight another battle, he'd just be able to heal himself via regen. I'll keep that in mind for the next time. Anyway, let's speed this up as we chase them down, though there isn't much chasing to be left, and considering how long we were fighting Grimgor, I think we were able to destroy quite a bit of his army via chasing, which is quite nice. I wasn't expecting to do so while in the pseudo-underway, and I call these pseudo-underway battles because they're not interception. I mean, they are underway battles, but, you know, the enemy army won't get destroyed, and the problem there is, like I said at the beginning of the battle, that the enemy can just run off immediately as soon as they are out, because the edges of the map are so close. Anyway, I digress. Let's see the damage. Alrighty, very, very nice. Grimgor, of course, still proves to be extremely troublesome, but we got some nice dueling between the two, with Zhao Ming and Grimgor fighting there, and it does seem that Grimgor had a little bit of a tougher time dealing with Zhao Ming than he did with Miao Ying previously. Also got plenty of value on our various units of casters, 24 and 52k damage. For the Alchemist, though the Alchemist was actually casting her mana spells, whereas the Astromancer was primarily casting debuffs as well as the free spells that the particular Wuxing Compass offers. I also notice a pretty big disparity in terms of the damage dealt by the Jade Warriors versus the Zhao-offs, the Celestial Dragon Guards. So can't wait for this army to be made up of all Celestial Dragon Guard, or at least the front line. Should make it all that much more deadly. Anyway, looks like these guys really don't have much remaining. Zhao Ming did a very good job at ripping that army apart. Much better than I was expecting, in fact. And he gets the bonus armor and armor-piercing damage for defeating Grimgor as well. Well done, well done. Now we will suffer attrition. Wait, if we go into March stance, we could go out of attrition territory. It will still be an enemy territory, mind you, but that's still quite a bit better. And, so this guy, wait, Miao Ying, if you go right here, could you go into ambush stance, I wonder? There's a decent likelihood that he'll just turn and go for Engorger Rock anyway, but we were certainly expecting this. You can indeed go into ambush, alright. So we might be able to fool them and still take this. Not that we once again really care about keeping it so much as we care about not having to refight unnecessary fights. Anyway, Jishu or Dingjun, I guess we'll send you forward. It'll probably mean attrition for you as well, but, well, too bad. Some attrition is inescapable. Alrighty, and to resolve this, it's probably going to do way more damage than is necessary. Actually, no, it didn't that time. Fine game. If I call attention to it, you'll won't screw us as much just to make me look like an idiot. And I can appreciate the dedication, if nothing else. Anyway, there we go. Now at least these two are not suffering attrition. Dingjun, you can stay back at the Granite Spikes until we abandon it, and until Jiao Ming moves towards the Volary, which he's probably going to begin doing now. As soon as Zatan has been defeated by his army, we will probably, well, no probably about it, we'll raise the place, and this will all be a ruin for the prep for the endgame scenario. Also, somebody reminded me the other Chaos Dwarf factions shouldn't revive during the Chaos Dwarfs endgame scenario. As in, it will be the Overlords of Jarduk, which will arrive at Jar-Nagrund with a bunch of armies, plus all over the world as well. So that should be interesting, if nothing else, and at least we won't have to repeat going after Zatan again. Anyway, let's keep moving everybody else around best as we can. You can try to avoid the attrition areas, so head out there, and then... so probably going to loop around a little bit before heading down to Noctilus. We can still see him. I wish we had a tech thief nearby that we could send to spy on him, essentially. But for now, Shukang and... Do we delete this army? You know what, it's not really costing us that much. 3.5k plus whatever it is. Oh, should have gone for the island. Whatever. We can use it just as a potential defense for the coastline. I keep wanting to min-max in the form of the armies that we have left, so then just, you know, delete unnecessary armies, because we do have supply lines in this, unlike SFO, so one army costs us quite a bit more than it seems, even if it is a cheap peasant army, even though we don't really have any cheap peasant armies, but yeah, that's the thing, it's a definitely, the supply lines are definitely a issue with the vanilla version, like 2.8k, nearly 3k just to have an additional lord, over 3k in fact. I mean, it's not crazy, but obviously it ramps up as well. And yeah, it's too much. Anyway, I believe, let's see, you're at level 12 and you're at level 11. I think we can hire lords just straight up higher level than you. Oh, level 11 for you, level 16 for you, and level 11 for you, so roughly the same. So frankly, we may not need to keep either one, because neither of you have particularly good, and neither one of you have particularly good traits. Oh, you have detowered, I guess, for defeating Draj, and defeating Kugatho. Okay, fine, maybe we'll keep you just by virtue of the defeat traits. Yeah, you have nothing. Alright, fine, out, and let's swap units. Alright, so we probably won't need the chrome. You know what? Keep 2 chrome. And, you know, you don't need the Jade Lancers. I would keep it if it wasn't for the fact that it was only 1 Jade Lancer. You can have the drums, you can have the Alchemist, and I don't see the need for 1 more Jade War. Oh, and the crossbows are the unshielded kind. Ugh. Well, that is what it is, I suppose. Okay, that's a few 2k. Let's do that instead. Alright, and the rest of you can go. There we go. And just because we're going to get a bunch of extra armies soon, so I don't want to drop to like 10k once we get like 10 more armies. Actually, speaking of 10 more armies, you have 2 more Celestial Crossbows to recruit, but otherwise this army will be ready to go to be transferred to Miaoying in a couple turns. That doesn't mean we don't continue recruiting, however. Jiao Ming, how many of these troops do you need? I want you to have at least 1 jet line for the additional spell resistance. You need 2 war drums, and let's say if we replace 1 of these, no, we replace 2 of these. 1 with a Jade Longma, no, wait. Yeah, 1 with a Jade Longma and 1 with a Great Longma, rather. Everything's Jade, guys, everything's Jade. And then I guess 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these guys. Alright, well, 6 Celestial Dragon Guard it is. Hopefully I can remember that right. And where are we here? You. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then 1 Jet Lion as well. Oh, it's gonna take 1, 2... I don't like that, because... let's do war drums then. Alright, there we go. Anyway, I think with that we're pretty much out of time, and I'm just going to call the episode here. There may be a little bit more admin to do, but I think I'll finish up said admin between the episodes so we're ready to end the turn at the start of the next one, and then next time we will hopefully reach the Galleon's graveyard and attack Count Noctis, assuming that he doesn't get mobbed and destroyed by all the High Elves in the world, because they all seem to be going after him there. And then in addition to that, we'll probably be finishing up with Zatan, and, well, maybe not quite finishing up with Grimgor, but shortly, at the very least. Anyway, stay tuned for more Yuan Bo, though not much more as we near the endgame scenario. Don't forget to leave a like and comment. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.